What's going on, guys? Scar coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video. Today's video, we're diving back into the ranked queue, playing our budget deck, seeing how well we do, trying to rank up this month for October, just trying to see what rank we get with playing a bunch of budget decks in the arena queue. I know the meta is right now a lot of Omnath, a lot of aggressive red decks. Definitely Dimir Rogues is something I definitely seen, if not you guys have seen in the previous videos I have posted on the channel since I've started uploading towards playing in the ranked queue. So we're diving back into the Rakdos party build, which I did go over in a previous video for my budget deck list of some things that were like Zendikar themed, you know, decks. And in this video, this deck, what it means is that we're playing like Rakdos party, which essentially means we're playing the party mechanic is if we have a rogue, a vampire, or rogue, a cleric, a wizard, and a warrior, we kind of get, you know, discounts on things, or things get better depending on what we have in our particular creatures on the battlefield. And overall, from what I remember playing this deck in that like example I showed in that video, this deck played fairly well. It's pretty decent. It's decently aggressive. I mean, it is kind of a Rakdos shell, and if we can kind of get to like turn 4, turn 5 and draw the right cards, we definitely can take it, you know, have our opponent kind of looking kind of weak, you know, trying to take advantage of. We'll see how we kind of do against like the meta decks as a whole. Just when I played in the example video, I was playing in the play queue, so hopefully this goes better. I mean, the goal here is to, you know, get to Zagras, the heartbeats, just so we can kind of make our you know, our party creatures that much stronger, give them all death touch. And himself has flying and death touch as well. But with that being said, guys, I mean, overall the deck is fairly budget. Really the only card in it that is really rare is actually just the Zagras, which is only 3 copies of, so it's really not too rare heavy. And everything else is majority from the new Zendikar set when it comes to uncommons, and there's a few cards that are actually from M21, but the package is pretty straightforward on, you know, the Zendikar party cards, just to kind of help build up the deck as a whole. We're only playing 15 lands because we're playing cards that are also modal lands, so we can kind of, you know, get additional lands, but you know, we don't want to draw too many things, we want to draw answers. So essentially us playing less lands in the deck allows us to draw deeper into the deck to find answers that we need to hopefully disrupt our opponent and what they're trying to do. There's some unique cards in the deck that take advantage of us having more creatures in our party other than Zagras, costing less for each creature in our party. We have the Minotaur, which also costs 1 less for each creature in our party, so making him, you know, as cheap as 2 if we have it. The Rogue gets +3/+0 for the mill effect, but it's a modal land, but it counts as a rogue. This Electromancer allows us to, you know, add additional red mana into our hand, into our mana pool equal to each creature in our party, so it can at maximum get 4. The Night Runner allows us to deal combat damage to a player, get to exile top card of our library. We may play this card this turn, so that's pretty solid. This Mace makes our creature stronger, and it gives that creature menace as long as it's equipped. It gets +1/+0 for each creature in our party. Emulator gets buffed every time we play a non-creature spell, so it gets +1/+1, and we can sacrifice it to actually fling the damage into something like a planeswalker or creature. It gets, you know, whenever it attacks, it's +1/+0 for each creature in our party, so this becomes stronger. The Malakir Blood Priest enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life. We gain X life for X number of creatures in our party. This makes our opponent reveal X amount of cards from their hand. We discard one of those cards by choice, equal to the amount of creatures in our party. Bloodthirst is a pretty solid removal spell for 1 mana. It allows us to remove target creature for a cost 2 or less. If we kick it, we can destroy target creature or planeswalker, so it doesn't actually matter the converted mana cost there. Malakir Rebirth allows us to kind of like save something from possibly dying, and you know, it's like one of those things, if it goes to the graveyard, we can actually flicker it back onto the battlefield. We lose 2 life in the process, but allows us to kind of save something if our opponent has some sort of removal or a way to get rid of it. The Charger, which is pretty solid as well because it's a 1 mana 1/1, and if it gets pumped up, it actually flings the damage. It flings whatever its power is at either whatever target it wants to. And then the Spikefield Hazard just is another spot removal that actually exiles whatever it deals combat damage to if it dies in the process of it getting hazard. So overall, the deck is pretty straightforward on what it's trying to do. We're just trying to build up a party. We're just trying to be aggressive as possible and hopefully get our opponent down. We do have cards on the sideboard that you could always add if you want to get a little bit more expensive. Fabled Passage, I'll clean up the mana. Embercleave, you know, if you want to get rid of this, Embercleave is just a little bit stronger. You can add the one I think you do get in the starter decks that as you unlock them. And then Robber the Rich is a pretty solid 2-drop. I didn't really want to go straight away and go more into like a mono red build, so I kind of only added the Robber the Witch. The Fervent Champion really doesn't actually help the deck in any way because it's not, doesn't count as one of the 4 things that are in a party. So thankfully Robert the Rich is still a rogue, so it counts as the party member. With that being said, guys, let's dive into some games. Let's kind of see how we do. If you guys want to upload this deck into MTG Arena, the deck list, it will be in the description down below. If you guys want, hit that like button, definitely helps out the video. But with that being said, let's do it. All right, our hand looks pretty decent. I mean, we do have some cards to play, so definitely stuff that we can get going. So I guess we'll play this hand. The one thing I will say about this deck, it doesn't have a lot of the removals, so it is gonna be tough in that sense, but it is what it is. Okay, so our opponent misses a land drop. Interesting. I guess we'll take advantage of it. Maybe they have something to do something with. We have a 2-drop play. I guess we play that. And oh, they're both warriors. Darn. They're probably trying to figure out what we're playing. They're like, what does this guy have? Nothing really gets cheaper in our thing. We could have played the cleric. What would you like, sir? So they didn't. Oh, it's creatures. That's what it is. Do play the cleric. Yeah, we'll swing in. He'll get +1, +0 for each creature in our party. We'll make sure this dies. Do we need a second? We'll do this. We'll say go. I guess second red's better. I don't really know if that's actually the play. Our opponent's looking at our hand, or like at our fields. They didn't get a land, I don't think, because they would have slammed it. I feel like when most people get lands, you immediately slam them, unless they're just trying to analyze what we're doing. But they don't have any creatures, so it's not like they have a haster unless they have. No, that's a 4-drop. They don't have Rankle. I guess they're trying to analyze if they can win or if they're gonna kill something. All right, it has Menace and Lifelink. That's fine. I get 2 red from that. That doesn't help me, does it? I'll be aggressive. Okay, so they don't do anything. I didn't get a land. Is that gonna be good? I guess we'll play this. And we'll play that. Let's say go. Next turn I could play the Zagreus, so that's pretty good, and he has flying and haste, so that actually get through. They really like to touch all the cards, like all of the cards. I think they're dead, even if they gain 2 life from this. I can't block it. It has Menace. Alright, you can take my Modal Land. Alright, what are we gonna do here? I think the play is to play the Zagreus, so everything has Death Touch. And then we swing in for a bunch of damage, and you have to block the biggest guy. Because I think you die if you don't. I mean, it's unfortunate for our opponent though, who did lose who did lose whatchamacallit, who did lose, you know, to mana reasons. They're at 3. They're gonna be at 5. I mean, I have more than enough to swing lethal unless they have a way to give everything like -2, -2. All right, so they're gonna put themselves at 1 and give up. Okay, that's fair. Kind of sometimes have to feel for an opponent who doesn't draw all the mana. Our opponent's going first. I actually like this hand still. It's pretty solid. I mean, we don't have really any early game stuff, but we do have removal and we do have a 1 drop. So I think it's pretty solid, and we have mana, a good chunk of it. Oh man, excuse me. Drinking soda in between rounds is not very good for it's not very good for whatchamacallit. That's fine. Makes sense. It's all instant stuff, so I mean, you know, we're gonna play that. I'm not really worried. Unfortunately, we're kind of getting land flooded at the moment, which is not great. All right, so they're playing whatchamacallit whenever we draw resolve. Whenever they're playing like the combo, it looks like. So we just gotta slow them down for the most part is what we gotta do here. They're just try to like make us draw a bunch of cards at some point, but they probably have a board wipe. Yeah. They're exiled. That's sorcery speed. Okay, that's fine. They're just trying to pretty much save themselves so that we can ping ourselves. But you know, having some disruption is always good, even if it's only for a card. Making them discard a card. It slows them down because maybe they're holding pieces. Oh yeah, we'll get rid of that. I don't really care. You have land, so it's not like I'm really worried that they're gonna land me to death. That's fine. It's like they know I have the removal, so it's like I'm not really sure. It's fine. We'll get rid of you out of the way. Maybe it's like some weird deck that plays some weird cards. I don't really know. I mean, they can cling to dust. I guess draws them a card. All right, that's fine. I mean, they're just top decking, I feel like, based on what I've seen. No attacks. Yeah. One turn. They can gain a life, but is that really what they want to do? Choose target creature, you lose 2 life until end of turn. I don't really need that. You can get rid of it if you want. Puts you in a weird position. That's fine. Another land's not great, unfortunately. I probably could have attacked, but is there a point to? I don't really know. Ooh. What's the other side? Target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a card from it with converted mana cost 3 or greater. That player discards that card. Interesting. They're gonna cling. I guess to draw a card is a possibility. Sure. I still think they have a land in their hand. I mean, it all depends on what we top deck, right? You know, we just gotta draw the right cards to top deck, and we'll be fine. I mean, I want to keep a card in my hand just to make it seem like I have something, but in reality, I have nothing. I'll fling it at this. All right, we just need like a big draw. That is kind of not it. Unfortunately. Just a land. They're gonna swing for 3. That's fine. Pass the damage. My turn. Gonna take 1. Gonna gain a life. Flooding out kind of sucks. And we're dead. And we're dead. I honestly don't think the deck was great that they were playing. It's just we drew a lot of lands. We're on the play. We only have model lands that are black. So I'm actually, this is a mulligan. I guess we get rid of the Minotaur. I mean, other than that, everything else I can play for the most part, and then hopefully we draw into lands. So I'm gonna play the Bloodfall Caves because I don't have turn 1. Probably drop the Acquisitions Expert so they can discard a card into... As much as, like, we're eventually gonna get to the Minotaur, it's just we're not there just yet at the beginning of the game. This is, I would really like to try this card out and see how it does, just because it is... Alright. Adventures, I'm gonna assume. Make you discard, at least. Make you make the important decisions. Maybe they'll discard a land. Now, they won't also attack in because... Get rid of your cabin, I guess. I guess it's like a food deck? Mono green? Interesting. Alright, we got a bunch of 1/1s. The question is, do they let me attack? Let's see what happens. Okay, that's fine. I want to test it out. Test the waters. Oh, I should play the land and then play this. No tax. Say go. I'll take the 5 if they decide to swing it for 5, but then we get a big swing next turn. That's fine. So we're playing against a mono green deck, which is definitely a lot heavier budget than we are. So that's okay. But I mean, I feel like they may be gassed out though. Interesting. They don't actually do anything with it. Can I see your hand? Oh, you don't need the Planeswalker. Do they exchange? It's gonna have trample. It's gonna get +3. Yeah, I'll be aggressive. I'll swing it for 4. See if they... They're gonna play their new one. They can play the Brontodon, which is pretty scary, I guess. They have a lot of mana. But... I'm not worried just yet. I'm not really... Unfortunately, they do have something to destroy target artifact or enchantment, but then they have to sacrifice it, so that's actually pretty good for us. So they have 6 mana. They're gonna play both. I mean, this will just all be good if we drew our one guy, or our like single rare in the whole deck, because it will give everything Death Touch, which will just make it that much more threatening. All right. So they're literally playing a deck full of rares while we're just playing like budget. So this is definitely evenly matched, and we're definitely gonna win now. Just throwing it out there. They want to block. They have to double block, but they probably won't double block. They could though. I'll swing in. They're probably not going to double block. They probably have stuff, so it's all perfectly fine. I mean, we're just definitely outvalued based on what's on their board. I mean, there's no point in playing just because they have a handful of stuff, and we're just not going to draw better than they are at this point. Around the play, I like the hand. The hand's overall pretty diverse on what we're trying to do, so I'll keep it. We have 3 mana, which also makes it good. We have the Bloodfall Caves, and we have 1 of each color, so we have like enough to play probably any spell in our deck. Essentially, we could probably play any double if there is. I don't think there is. I think everything's a single. All right, let's you know, gain some life. All right, they played a modal land turn 1, but it's not terrible. So that's good for us, I guess, right? So we get a wizard. They're looking at it. Maybe they're thinking about shocking it. If they do, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just slows down. Interesting. Interesting. That could be good eventually. That can gain us life back. I think we get rid of a land. I'll take the 3. It's not like I'm not worried just yet, and I think it gets cheaper anyway. We'll swing in. Like this Blood Chief is actually very good for what we want to do. I'll play this. And then I'll do this, and I'll end turn. Next turn I can play Ardent Electromancer, actually, and then probably play that if they don't kill anything. Because then we'll have 3 things. Okay, they're playing Grixis of some sort. They're analyzing what's gonna happen. Can I live through this? Can I live through all of this? I mean, they don't have double blue for counters. They could have Essence Scatter, but YOLO? They have a kill spell. There is a hold here. That's fine. Oh, that's a second wizard. That wouldn't have worked anyway. I just realized. That's my bad. Interesting. So you have another answer, is pretty much what you're saying right now. So I'll make you play your answer. Play your Bone Crusher, because I guess that's what you want to do here. Interesting to damage. Another Malakir Blood Priest. That's fine. To play an Essence Scatter. You wanted to play an Essence Scatter. Got it. Interesting. I'm not really sure about the play. I feel like you put a Bone Crusher out, make the board just that much bigger, and just make it harder for me to get through for damage. Would probably be how I would go about it. I mean, now they could have countered. I guess. I'm so confused. I feel like they're playing the deck weird. Interesting. Still unsure. Brazen Borrower? They have a bounce spell? Maybe? You can counter it. I don't know what's going on, to be quite honest. That's fine. Alright, so they're playing the Grixis deck I think I've seen. They need to kill things. I mean, they have enough to print Kroxa again, but it's a 2-mana thing I can definitely get rid of. So if they do play Kroxa, that's fine. If I draw a land here, it's game, because I can kill that. I mean, they could have a negate. Alright, so they play for 0 to draw a card. Interesting. Interesting. It's gonna take all my mana. Can't Blood Chief's Thirst it. I'm gonna swing in and see what happens. You know, I could have done. It's fine. I could have done something slightly different, but it's okay. Also, I've only been at 3 mana this whole time, so that's good, I guess. They don't have double red. That's actually the big problem right now. I just realized they didn't have double red to actually play those back onto the battlefield. And they cycled a shark, which they could have kept up as a blocker. But I do have a Blood Chief, so I mean, if they do decide to shark, but that's sorcery speed, so I can't remove. Oh, it's odd or even. Okay, resolve. Pick a number. Nice. Opponents on the play. Our hand's decent. I mean, we have a modal land. We have a lot of red cards. Minotaur being the only thing that's double red. So I think this hand's keepable. Hopefully by the time we can play Minotaur, we have ways to actually play it. I'm not liking the sign of seeing blue as the first card, but, you know, it could be unsummon. It could be an opt. They have a 1-mana instant speed. Usually if there's a hold, it's usually a 1-mana opt. It's not like we have any sort of 1-mana counter. I think... So they're playing Is It. Interesting. Is it? I'll swing in first. Emulator. Which can be good if they're not ready for it. I could have also played the Catcher, which could have been good. They may play a spell here so they can play their Riddle form. Looks like they're not, though, which is good for us. Getting a lot of black mana, so there's that. Riddle form is a 3/3. See what they do here. All right. It's my only red source, so that kind of sucks. They only have... They can counter it. I mean, I guess if that's something they want to do. Didn't do anything. Did not do anything. All right, frantic inventory. That's fine. Okay. Another riddle form. That's, yet again, it's fine. They put us on a clock, but I mean, at the same time, too, they're on a clock, essentially. Might as well get in for the damage when I can. Play a land. And we'll play Rogue with Menace. So we'll just get wide, because now this makes them second guess if they actually want to do anything here. They're going to draw. We're going to hit for 6, possibly. They could have Embercleave, actually. Embercleave would be 8 plus 3, which would be 11. Do they play Embercleave in these decks? All right, they give it things to pump. 6/5, that's 9. They're at 6. I have cards on the battlefield. I'm 1 out of the range of being dead, I guess, if they decide to have a burn spell. So it actually may have helped us that we kind of, it may or may not have helped us that we tried to save those. But if they have another infuriate, then we're dead here. I mean, that's what they need here, is like an infuriate to pump these up. Infuriate, shock, anything? Scry? Okay, I'll take a scry. Scry's good. All right. All right, so now we're back to the deck, and overall, I mean, from what it played, it felt like it played pretty consistently what it was trying to do. I did see in the matches where the opponent was overall playing a much stronger deck compared to what we were doing. It did have a hard time kind of keeping up with like the power of some of the cards that are more rare and mythic overall. But overall, when we played a deck that was a little bit more even matched, we kind of held our own. And when we drew the right cards, it kind of did put our opponents in weird predicaments. And I mean, we did go up, I think, 2 ranks through the video, so that's pretty solid. So we're getting close to getting out of bronze. So in the next video, hopefully we go into silver if the deck that we do play actually is going to play pretty consistently and we don't get paired up against like super duper strong decks. But I mean, overall, I do enjoy this deck, and for a deck that, you know, is fairly budget, it runs fairly well if you're a person who is very light on the wild cards or just fairly new to Magic the Gathering. And I think playing decks like this shows that, sure, you know, it'd be probably easier to play like the best of the best decks with all the rares and all the mythics and stuff, but at the same time too, if you don't have the means to kind of collect the wild cards and open the packs to get the wild cards and things like that, it's perfectly fine to play a deck that's a little bit more on the later wild card side. And with that being said, I mean, you can slowly upgrade into having more rares and mythics in the deck if you want to add in some more rogues. I mean, I personally, if you want to keep the Rakdos party element together, so you do have the rogue, you exchange like a rogue for rogue, you don't like mix up the deck and then pretty much make it mono red with like a little bit of splash of black. I would think Embercleave, I think overall would be like the best thing that I would first go for in the deck to make it like that much stronger, and then maybe add in Robber the Rich, just because it's 2 mana, 2/2 rogue, and definitely maybe get rid of maybe the Heartfire Immolator, which I felt like in a weird way wasn't fairly good in that sense, because I wasn't playing a lot of spells because we really don't run too many, I guess. We're not playing like shocks and things like that we normally you would see in a deck that splashes red. So really, again, the prowess effect to go off really wasn't that great, except for in the one instance that I did play the Malakir Rebirth to kind of save it from being shocked to death, but I still took 2 damage. So with that being said, guys, let me know what you guys think about the deck down in the comments below. I do appreciate all the comments and feedback that you guys do give. If you guys do decide to pilot the deck, let me know how you did. I would always like to see how you guys think the deck overall runs. And if you want to make your own adjustments, go ahead and do it. I do appreciate you guys. Let me know like your feedback and things like that on these decks and these videos. And with that being said, guys, if you like the video, hit that like button. It definitely helps out the channel out a lot. If you want to know I post more videos, hit that subscribe button. I mean, I guess we're creeping up on that 1,000 subscribers, which will definitely be pretty awesome to hit. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.